Hey folks, welcome back. I'm Rick. We're going to work on my Diagnosing Pro 80,000 BTU heater, and they're known by different names. They're known as torpedo heaters, salamanders, different names. Now I haven't used this in a couple of years, and it's been sitting in the barn. I tried to start it up a couple of weeks ago. It turns on, the pump runs, but it doesn't fire up. So I'm leaning toward there's probably a fuel issue. So I'm going to take it apart, see if I can get it fixed. I've never worked on one of these before, so this is not a how-to. This is, let's see if I can get this thing running. The principle, the way they work, is pretty much the same as an oil-fired furnace in the house. Essentially the same, and I've worked on those before. I know how to fix those. So we're going to take this apart and see if I can figure out the problem. I'll show you what it does first. I'll turn it on quickly. You'll see what happens. All right, it's kicking on. So you can hear it trying. It'll shut down in a few seconds. So that's telling me that either there's no spark or there's no fuel. So I'll take the cover off and I'll show you more inside. I did check the fuel tank. There's just under a half a tank of kerosene in there. So I think that's okay. So I'll bring you back once I have the cover off. All right, so the cover's off. That's a simple matter of, I don't know, 8 or so screws. I think there may be 5/16 socket or Phillips head. So that's easy. Cover comes off. So here's the inner workings. Here's the pump. It works off a Venturi effect. So this spins, sucks the fuel up from the tank down here into the the nozzle in here. So if you look close, I think you can, this might be the problem. That's broken right there. Now I don't see any fuel spilling out, so I can't remember. One of these is the feed line, the other is the return, and I don't know which is which. But I'll turn it on, and we'll see what it does from here. All right, so here we go. So you can see I've got spark there. You can see the spark right there. So it looks to me like it's not getting any fuel. And this just might be the issue. I don't have a lot of slack, actually no slack on this line, but I'm going to pull this off, cut it, see if I can put it back on. I really don't want to have to try to replace this line because it goes down here to the fuel tank behind this panel, and this doesn't look like it's easy to remove. It might be, but it doesn't look easy. So I'm going to see if I can just cut a little bit off of this, slide it back on, see if that works. If not, then we're going to have to dig deeper. So I'll cut that off. I'll bring you back. All right, so I cut that line, slid it back on. There's another slit right there, and I couldn't fit it all the way on. This hose is stretched as far as it'll go. So we'll fire this up in a minute, see if it works. I want to go over a few things first, just to explain how this works. So you can see right there, that's the nozzle. So the fuel gets atomized, sent through that nozzle, and the these are the spark prongs right there. You can see the two of them, and on the when I started this up before, you can see the sparks between those prongs. So some of these have a spark plug in them, just like in a car. I think most of them have the spark prongs. So those are the spark prongs. The fuel gets atomized, sent through the the nozzle right there. And then this down here, this black item, is the sensor. Inside that is a little sort of like a solar panel, little eye, and that looks through that hole there and watches for the flame. If it doesn't see the flame, it shuts down the unit, like you saw in the previous clip. So it's a pretty simple process, and as I mentioned, the pump here generates vacuum, pulls the fuel up. There's no pump, there's no gravity feed or anything. It just gets sucked up through the Venturi effect up into the nozzle here. And then one of these is probably this one is the return. So what I'm going to have to do is take this all apart. I'm going to do this another time. If this isn't the problem, if this is the problem, I'll take this all apart and replace that. Well, it has to be replaced either way. So I'll have to replace this line, but I'll do that at some other time. So that's the process. Let's see what happens. Let's hope this is a simple repair. Now, before I start it, what can happen a lot of times is that nozzle will get plugged up. There's just debris, dirt in the fuel, and it plugs up the nozzle. So that can come off. You pull these lines off. I'm trying to remember. You probably have to pull this apart, but you get in there with a wrench, pull that nozzle out, spray it with some carburetor cleaner or some kind of cleaner, PB blaster or something, and then blow it out with some compressed air, or replace it, one or the other. But you can try cleaning it first, put it back in and see if that's the problem. That's a common problem on oil-fired forced air furnaces in a house. A lot of times they get plugged up. So what I don't work on the furnaces anymore, because the one I have now is computer controlled like everything else. So I just let somebody else do it. But you want to either clean the nozzle there or replace it. And then the sensor at times has to be clean. You can see the inside of this is pretty clean because it's not old. It's barely been used. But sometimes that sensor has to be cleaned as well. But this was a problem because it isn't or wasn't getting fuel. All right, so let's start this up and see what happens. Woohoo! All right, so the last thing I want to do for this video is, you can see I showed you the pressure was up a little over 4 pounds. It should be 3.4. That's on here somewhere. 3.8. So right there, pump pressure should be 3.8, and it was probably like 4.2. So it's a little high. So I'm going to adjust it, bring it down to about 3.8. So I'm going to fire it up again. I'll have to do this one-handed. And then got a screwdriver. So we'll fire it up, and then we'll adjust it should probably be done without it running, but we're going to fire it up, and then I'll adjust the pump pressure. Here's the adjustment right here. I don't know which way to go. Probably out. quarter of a turn. Just a little more. I'd say that's pretty good there. All right, seems to be working. So I had given some thought to taking this apart and replacing that line on this video. However, two things. I don't have a line with me. I have to go into town and get a line somewhere. And that's a tiny little line. So I don't know if they'd have that at the auto parts store. So anyway, I have to get the fuel line for it. And that is hot now, so I'm not touching that. But it looks like in order to get down, to replace that line down in there, I have to take the body off here. So I was looking at it. There's a screw here. A screw down in there somewhere. Right there. Down in there. So and there's probably a third one down here somewhere. But I can't touch that. So I'd have to pull this out, pull the pump out, which I think is pretty easy. It's just sitting in some slots here. So pull those out, and then undo those screws. I think this whole thing will lift out, and then I can probably replace that line there. But I'm going to do that off camera, or maybe do a part 2 video. So anyway, she's running. It was a simple fix, just fixing, well, kind of a simple fix, fixing that line. All right. All right, it's all back together. So let's do one more test, see if it fires up. Okay, seems to be working. So in some warmer weather, like this spring or this summer, I'll do another video. I'll take it all apart, do a tune-up on it, clean it all up, make sure it's running top-notch. So I'll take it all apart, fix that or replace that hose, take the nozzle out, clean that, check everything over, and I'll put it all back together. So in the meantime, thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you in the next video.